dorks of yore.
Hi guys, I'm Pat Kilbane. Welcome to RPG Science, where we explore the physics and biomechanics behind tabletop role-playing games. And today we're going to calculate the force of a giant's punch. We think of giants as being huge and strong, but just how hard they would hit is a mystery to most of us. So we're going to use Newtonian physics to estimate the force impact of a giant's right cross. To do this, we're going to begin with a generic human male who is 6 feet tall, weighs 200 pounds, and punches with 1,000 pounds of force, which is about what a pro fighter that size can generate. We'll say that the human fighter has a characteristic linear dimension of 1, so his height, width, depth all have a scalar value of 1. His cross-sectional area is proportional to L squared, and his mass is proportional to L cubed. Now let's scale him up isometrically to a height of 12 feet. To scale isometrically means that all of the proportions remain the same. It's like we are photo-enlarging this human to giant size. Iso is a Greek root meaning the same, so isometric means by the same measure. If we were to change the giant's proportions with size, as nature tends to do, that would be allometric scaling. Allo being the Greek root meaning other or different, so allometric means by a different measure. But our giant, for nice easy math, will be isometrically scaled to double human size. Our 12-foot giant is twice the size of a human in every linear dimension. So if our 6-foot human has a characteristic linear dimension of 1, for our giant, L will equal 2. Since mass is proportional to L cubed, if our 6-foot human weighs 200 pounds, our giant will weigh 1,600 pounds. We know from episode number 1 of the show that strength is proportional to cross-sectional area, which is proportional to L squared. So the muscle force the giant can generate is 4 times that of our 6-foot pro fighter. But remember, the giant's weight is 8 times as much. So using Newton's second law, F equals ma, we see that the acceleration of the giant's punch is 1/2 that of our human. But the giant also accelerates his punch over a greater distance. So let's see how the math works out. Velocity equals the square root of 2 times distance times acceleration. And since we are normalizing the human punch velocity to equal 1, we'll remove the 2 from the equation. As you can see, the giant's punch velocity is exactly the same as the human's. But since his fist weighs 8 times as much, the force impact will also be 8 times, or 8,000 pounds. The scaling of real-world damage is tricky, as we discussed in episode 3, but let's see if we can break this down in D&D terms. The 8,000-pound punch of a giant is about the same amount of force generated by a Barry Bonds home run swing. In 5th edition rules, not including strength bonuses, an unarmed human strike does a maximum of 1 point of damage, and a two-handed club does a maximum of 8. So the matchup there is really not too bad. Here's another interesting result of the math. The time the punch takes to arrive at the target is proportional to the square root of 2 times the distance over acceleration. Again, we'll remove the 2 to normalize it. Doing the math shows the giant's punch takes exactly twice as long as the human's. So in a nutshell, a 12-foot giant's punch would do 8 times the damage, but would take twice as long as a human punch to get there. So what are the implications in game terms? Maybe a giant shouldn't get 2 attacks in a round. Or is it possible that giants are striking with quicker, lighter blows to optimize their speed? This is the kind of stuff I think about on long car rides. The math gets much more complicated when you get weapons involved, so we're going to tackle that in a future episode. For now, thanks for watching. Thank you to all of our Patreon supporters for making this possible, and we'll see you next time.